Holy shit, a fresh face. Haven't seen your like in years. Don't know what brought you to the most dangerous corner of this solar system, pal, but you're welcome here. Oh, you talked to Lex yet? She tell you to keep it civil? You wouldn't guess to talk to her, but that lady's got a mean left hook. Me? Nah. Never been a pugilistic kind of guy. Did most of my fighting with a pen back when I did it at all. Nowadays, I just drink. At least Lex has got the good manners to let me do it for free. Some kind. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Got into reporting thinking I was gonna be some sort of public intellectual. What a joke. Spent 95% of my time playing stenographer to the board, and the rest writing puff pieces on the chairman's latest beard trim. Real life and death shit. If you're going back out there, do you think you'd be willing to do an old bastard a small favor?
The other 20% is ordering me around.
Well, I've been trying to get away from this rock for 5 lobby-fucked years, but I can't stay gone. Told you I was a journalist, right? I was here on a story back when Project Gorgon was active. I was doing an interview series for Spacer's Choice. Recorded them all on these little portable phonographs. But when everything fell to shit, Spacer's Choice wouldn't let me leave. Terms of my reporting contract unmet, they said. Right on the money. Look at me, I'm no fighter. I've never even touched a gun. But you're just the right amount of rough around the edges. Help me get my recordings back so I can finally get the hell out of here. Someone had been trying to steal them since the day my assistant and I started interviewing. Couldn't even keep them in my safe. They always found a way in. So I took to hiding them all over the fucking asteroid. Thought I was so clever. What a fool I was. Oh, Georgie? Yeah, she helped me with interviews. A real whiz with the portable recorder tech, too. When things got crazy, I shoved her onto the last ship off Gorgon. With any luck, she's safe and comfortable in Byzantium. She tried every which way to stay, but it was my contract keeping us here, not hers. Didn't seem fair she'd have to suffer just because I made a bad deal. Oh, I've tried, make no mistake. I've caught a couple of rides out with sublight folks, but the board's fixers always send me right back. And I'm not about to stand toe-to-toe with marauders just to fulfill a line item on a contract. No shit? That's downright civilized of you. All right. One of them I stash in the Office of Creative Incubation, in the projector room on the 3rd floor. I gave another to my friend Birdie to keep in her apartment, just outside OCI's upper entrance. Seems like a good idea at the time. Someone had started a fire, folks were shooting other folks. It was a madhouse. You'll find another in the chem lab. It's in the main lab storage room. Didn't have much of a choice. The primals had gotten loose, couple of them were chasing me. The recordings just ended up wherever I hid. The final one is in human inquiry and auditing. It's tucked behind a pipe in Observation Room B. What with the test subjects running loose, the researchers were surprisingly unobservant. Strength to your sword arm, friend. And thank you.
You don't look like one of the salvagers, no? Don't really seem like the type. You've got the look of someone who's traveled far to get here and whose journey is far from over. Confidence. The scavengers around here, they're faking it. You're the real deal. I don't know if you're bound for the old ruins, but in case you are, can you look into something? I'd do it myself, but of course, the marauders would eat me alive. Looking for something out there. Been paying Sublight to help me, but they haven't made much progress. It is to me, but apparently it's junk to Sublight. My husband and I worked on Gorgon during the good times. Jerome was on maintenance duty. I cleaned out test tubes till they sparkled. Nowhere good, that's for sure. In his final hours, Gorgon was a war zone. Violence broke out in the labs. The hills were full of marauders. You couldn't take a leisurely stroll without an armed escort. When the order came through to evacuate, non-essential personnel drew a lottery to see who would board the first wave of ships. Jerome won. I lost. As soon as I wasn't looking, Jerome switched our tickets and pushed me to the front of the line. I got to leave. Jerome stayed behind. I never saw him again. A broken heart, that's what. This place is greedy. It took my Jerome, and it would have taken me too. I just want one thing back. His old hip flask. I gave it to him the day we signed our marriage contract, and he carried it wherever he went. I know it's still here. No point in denying it, he died on this rock, likely torn apart by marauders, unless he took care of himself on his own terms. I don't like to imagine what happened, but I know I have to accept it. You'd really do that for me? Law, and I'll bet you're worth 10 of those sublight sprats. I don't have much, but if you help me, there's a little set aside for the occasion. Jerome used to drink with his buddies in a small kitchen opposite the maintenance shed. Might be a good place to check first. Yeah? That old flirt? Yeah, I let him buy me a drink or two. He talked my ear off about exciting jobs he'd done. All lies, I'm sure. He fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. That man had baggage like you wouldn't believe. I didn't think anyone could be lonelier than me. He bragged about having the key to some sort of maintenance area in one of the old buildings. I never saw it, so I just assumed he was talking himself up. He also asked if I wanted to see something gross and slimy he kept in his room, but I declined, politely. He put on quite a front, but I think he was weary, like he'd seen too much and had too little to show for it. Guess we were kindred spirits in a way. Sure thing. My condolences if you two were close. The lab coats kept quiet about the project, but the air was charged with excitement. You could feel it wherever you went. They wanted to change the world. A tenfold boost to worker productivity with no side effects? Who wouldn't salivate at the thought? I don't know what went wrong, but when the shit hit the fan, it sprayed everyone in its path, including me.
Initiating ocular measurement. Measurement complete. Ocular identification complete. Welcome, Clarence Mostly. Access granted. Welcome to the Office of Creative Incubation.
I knew I heard a little weasel sniffing about. You'd best go back the way you came. There's nothing for you here. Call me the Ghost of Gorgon, or its warden. This place is a graveyard. All that was done here should be forgotten and left to rot. I did, and I am prepared to do worse if you ignore my warning. Gorgon is the birthplace of marauders. We created them here, in this very facility. They are our misbegotten children, born of hubris and vanity.
I don't understand. They made marauders here? How?
But marauders are just mindless lunatics, right? There can't be more to it than that.
They hold no fondness for trespassers. I've placed the facility under emergency lockdown to keep them safe. Let the marauders die in peace, or I will make certain that you die with them.
Back on the Groundbreaker, I heard stories. People talked about marauders roaming every corner of Halcyon. Anywhere you found people, you'd find marauders too.
I always figured they were townies who spent too long on the factory line. Guess there's more to it.
Captain, transmission request from Ambrose Manor.
Captain! Imagine my surprise when I saw the Unreliable leaving Gorgon with so much urgency and purpose. Tell me you found Mother's journal. I'm positively dying for good news. Too bad. But on the bright side, you've outdone my old freelancer. I don't think you made it very far at all. If I know Spacer's Choice, getting past the lockdown will be more complicated than just hitting a big red button. You'll need authorization, and layers of it. I seem to recall that Mother worked closely with Gorgon's R&D personnel, but not close enough to invite them over for dinner and cocktails, if you get my meaning. By now, they'll have moved on with their lives. If only I could do the same. I knew Mother was involved with some important chemical trials, but I had no idea her pet project was adrenatime. Adrenatime is a working man's stimulant, like a caffeinoid. Very popular at launch, though the marketing quieted down over time. What? No! I mean, there's some very morbid wording in the fine print, but I had no idea adrenatime could make marauders out of people. That's it. That must be it. Spacer's Choice is keeping their dirty little secret about adrenatime off the record. We have to find Mother's journal. If we don't, then Spacer's Choice gets away with murder. I only hope we aren't too late. Adrenatime was touted as the working man's best friend, a drug that boosted productivity with no adverse effects. The promise of adrenatime cannot be overstated. Exhaustion and fatigue were supposed to be obsolete. Workplace accidents would be things of the past. For whatever reason, the drug never lived up to that promise. I don't know, and thanks to Spacer's Choice, we may never find out. I know that I'd like to see a colony where the promise of adrenatime was fulfilled, and I doubt I'm the only one. Thank you. I certainly ought to know what I'm doing. I spent years trying to break into pharmaceuticals, professionally speaking. Mother wouldn't hear of it. She didn't think I had the wit to succeed in her line of work. Safe travels. If your leads give you any trouble, be sure and give them some trouble back, yes? Ta!
If you're here for the annual Canid review, I'm afraid it's already over. Only thing going on behind those doors is good, old-fashioned lawful behavior. This greeting constitutes your confidentiality agreement. You hereby agree not to disclose the location or existence of these events. Thank you for cooperating. Oh, that's just so encouraging to hear. I'll just go ahead and add your comment to my permanent record. Now then, how can I help you? Mr. Mostly is indeed attending our event, although I am disappointed to discover he did not officially enter his Canid Laplace into our competition. You should find Mr. Mostly just inside the prep room. Head inside and take the door to your left. We find that our clients enjoy the appearance of participating in illegal activities. Secrecy contributes to a feeling of indecency.
This kind of thing's pretty common. Bijou's used to do a prison-themed night. Served fish sticks with tartarus sauce.
Oh yeah, prison-themed night was the best. Plus, they gave away limited edition designer handcuffs. The Musgrave family collection was intended to be a gallery of fine art. And here we are, using this place to practice semi-legal Canid shows. Scandalous, isn't it? That's privileged information. I really shouldn't tell you. That's a fair point. All right, I'll tell you. But just keep this between us. The Musgraves own one of Earth's largest private collections of art and literature. They were going to have the entire collection shipped all the way to Halcyon. Unfortunately, that collection never arrived. We haven't heard anything from the delivery convoy, and there's some purely hypothetical concern that the collection might be, well, I was going to say indefinitely delayed by unforeseen and unknowable circumstances, but yes, let's go with that. Anyway, that's as much as I can tell you. Will there be anything else?
Hey, Maverick Johnston's newest star. I've got a question for you. Do you know the interesting thing about canid shows? Mathematically speaking, the interesting thing about canid shows is this. They're an exercise in futility. Winning is predetermined. Over time, the inevitable trend is that the race goes to the swift. Time and chance are just statistical outliers. In other words, if you put enough canids through enough trials, the one with the most optimal attributes generally wins. Exercise in futility. What gave me away? Wait, don't tell me. You've read my monograph, Putting the Us in Calculus, or How to Use Mathematics to Find Your Statistically Significant Other. I'm afraid I don't really do autographs, but yes, I am Clarence Mostly. Oh, then you're not here about my monograph. It's true, I was involved with Project Gorgon, but that chapter of my life is long since closed. Listen, I don't know what you want with Gorgon or with me, but let me give you some free advice, Let the past go. Live in the moment. Enjoy the party. I was wondering if you were the sort of person to accept sensible advice or respond with threats of violence. Thank you for resolving that ambiguity for me. Lifting the lockdown won't be easy. You'll need to send overrides from the chem lab and human inquiry. I don't have that level of clearance, but I know 2 people who do. The trouble is, I don't know you. I don't trust you. I washed my hands of Gorgon, and you're asking me to dirty them all over again. I'm going to need a good reason. I advise against trying to dig up what's been buried. Sooner or later, you're going to draw up something rotten. I want a favor from you. Do something for me, and I'll do something for you. That way, we don't have to rely on mutual trust. A grand prize trophy to the Canid Review. I want it in my hands. Get me that trophy, and I'll give you the remaining researchers. Names, locations, as much information as I have. My Canid, Laplace, is statistically superior to every other Canid in this review. Better average sprinting time, superior gait coefficient, optimal anatomical symmetry. I didn't bother entering little Laplace in this pointless contest. He's already won on paper, you see. That trophy rightfully belongs to him. Oh, you're much too kind. Does this mean you'll do it? Head into the main hall and take the elevator down into the maintenance tunnels. You'll find a service passage that leads up into the trophy room. The maintenance tunnel is the only way up into the trophy room. Some technician barred the door shut on our end. Ask Tilda Coatsworth about it, over by the podium. What's on your mind? At the moment, nothing. I have a one-track mind. I can't stop thinking about that trophy. Why isn't it in my hands? When is it going to be in my hands? And so on and so forth. You get me that Best in Show trophy, and it'll clear my mind right up. My eye! I was wondering where I'd misplaced that old thing. It's perfectly preserved, you know. Every eye possesses unique dimensions, not unlike a fingerprint. The circumference, the shape, the color of the iris. An eye makes excellent proof of identification, assuming you don't mind removing one. I'd rather not get into the details. If Spacer's Choice ever asks you to test out their new model of monocle, just say no. Well, that's rather responsible of you. I'll put a good word in your permanent record.
Welcome. This unit has been programmed to provide a selection of marginally subversive repartee. Now loading Banter Protocol. Indecency ratio set to 15%. Greetings, attractive patron. You are looking downright unlawful today. Why not complement your disorderly behavior with a little drunkenness and purchase a beverage? Indecency ratio set to maximum. Now loading Banter Protocol. Byzantium's glory days are over. Bits cannot purchase happiness. All pleasure is fleeting. No amount of inebriation will dull the pain of ennui. Warning. This unit's Banter Protocol has exceeded its maximum allowance of subversive language. Memory wipe initiated. This unit's Banter Protocol has been erased. Would you like to purchase a drink?
This is a private party. No solicitors. No vagabonds. No freelancers. If you're here to offer your services as an entertainer, we're not interested. Why, thank you. It's custom-made for our Canid review, which ended a few days ago. The Judiciary Committee is still deliberating over the winner. In 8 to 10 short weeks, we'll have the name of a winner. Probably. That gives us 8 to 10 weeks to file a maintenance request. Our technician barred the vault door and then disappeared without a trace. Can you believe that? The Musgrave Vault contracted a security consultant from UDL. They sent a technician to install a few security upgrades, anti-dissident automechanicals and the like. That technician barred the vault, but neglected to leave us with a way in from here. He wasn't seen leaving the security room, so I can't imagine where he's gone off to. The tunnels are guarded by automechanical security. I don't look nearly boorish enough to resemble a UDL guard, so they'd probably shoot me on sight. In any case, I'd rather not step foot in the tunnels. The tunnels are for disposing of unwanted refuse, and no place for a respectable Byzantine. Your eagerness to serve your betters is commendable. Here's a keycard. It should help you get around inside the tunnels. Now, was there anything else? I'd like to get back to mastering over the ceremonies, or people might question why I have this role at all.
I don't suppose you've any formal training in Canid husbandry. I really am at my wit's end. It's my little Anubis, you see. He's listless and miserable. I simply don't know what to do about his condition. You must understand, Anubis is a very picky eater. He dines exclusively on Terra 2 Saltuna, none of that rubbish from Monarch. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of a shortage lately. He's so miserable without his Saltuna. Yes, I suppose you're right. I doubt all this excitement is doing any favors to his digestive system. I suppose I have been spoiling him with Saltuna. He could use a change of palate. Oh, I do have some limited edition Rizzo's CCN 76 chocolate bars. Really? I had no idea. I suppose I'll just treat him to some Spectrum Violet then. You've been a world of help. I'll leave a good word on your permanent record.
You know, the careers of 9 out of 13 actors end after their debut serial. Enjoy the fame while it lasts. Dead canids in the service tunnels. Domesticated canids? Why, that's utterly revolting. My dear friend, I would not dream of hurting a canid. Every canid, regardless of their physical attributes, is a companion to their master. To kill a companion is a profound and unforgivable breach of trust. I'm glad I chose not to participate in this loathsome canid review. I will, however, take their trophy. My trophy! Look at this thing! Have you ever seen a more garish monument to the boredom of the elite? If only Grandfather Mostly were alive today, I would have loved to wave this trophy right in front of his cataracts. I hope you won't take it personally when I say I had my doubts about you. Nothing ever gets done in Byzantium, you see. Competent work is, well, a statistical anomaly. Lifting the emergency lockdown requires overrides from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. Access to those facilities requires authorizations from 2 senior-level researchers. Marion Blakesley, Jasper Lowe. They went into hiding after the project collapsed, but I've managed to calculate their last known whereabouts within a reasonable margin of error. I see you're familiar with my technique. I'd love to show you my numbers, but there aren't nearly enough napkins in this room. After the project shut down, I had to keep my mind occupied. I worked on my actuarial tables, calculated the average lifespan of a Spacer's Choice worker, that sort of thing. I realized some of the researchers had to be alive. I ran some numbers, did a little research, and concluded that the 2 most likely survivors are Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe. Nonsense. I just needed a good old-fashioned statistical problem to busy my mind. Keeps the faculties lubricated. Let me stop you there. I don't accept anything for free, and if you're going to analyze me, I'd have to go through the trouble of hiring you on contract. Think what you will of my intentions, my calculations are sound. You'll find Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe at the enclosed locations. As far as I know, Jasper Lowe and Marion Blakesley are the only 2 surviving researchers with high-level clearance. If you want to lift the lockdown on the manufactory, you'll need to send an override from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. I'm afraid it's the only way. I know it feels like you're being led on. What is that colorful metaphor commoners use? A wild sprat chase? Remember, this is Spacer's Choice we're talking about. Their security protocols are just as inefficient and frustrating as their manufacturing. I'll tell you what I can. Dr. Marion Blakesley supervised the Human Inquiry and Auditing Facility. Live subjects, measuring tape and syringes, that sort of thing. Someone sabotaged the facility. Blakesley tendered her resignation and vanished. I'm reasonably certain she's hiding in a maintenance bay on Groundbreaker. Dr. Lowe described himself as a dazzling genius in his review. I disagreed. Of the 19 criteria that constitute the rubric of genius, Dr. Lowe only met 15. After the project shut down, corporate traded him off to Auntie Cleo in exchange for 5 lab coats. he's been transferred to an orbital lab around Olympus. Our office gave Dr. Lowe and his team every opportunity to develop a drug under perfectly reasonable guidelines and generous deadlines. Dr. Lowe failed to meet our requests and largely succeeded in using our supply of drugs to get himself higher than the mortality rate of a line worker at a Saltuna cannery. Certainly. What's on your mind? Let's try to keep it down, shall we? At least pretend we're being discreet? There's not a lot about Project Gorgon I can tell you. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but I closed that chapter in my life. I've moved on. Look, don't tell anyone I said this. But if there's anything I've learned by living in Byzantium, it's this. If you go looking for the truth, you are looking for trouble. All right. Ask your questions. And then if you don't mind, don't mention Project Gorgon anywhere near me again. Minnie Ambrose. Oh, Olivia's brat. Ambitious, but like the rest of her family, irrelevant. She tried following her mother's example, failed, and if she ever tried again, I couldn't tell you. The name Ambrose doesn't mean anything to me anymore, or to anyone halfway respectable. The Ambroses are, how do I put this politely, obsolete? A family's name is only as strong as its enterprise. The Musgraves have Rizzos, and the Schuyler's have Auntie Cleo, and so we show those names the respect they deserve. The Ambrose name was associated with Project Gorgon. The project died, and so the Ambrose name died with it. That's just the way the game is played. Project Gorgon was designed to change the life of every worker on Halcyon. We weren't just building a product, we were trying to build a society. How many workers call Halcyon their home? What do they eat and when? How long do they sleep? How hard do they work? What are their most productive years? When do their organs begin to fail? That's the nature of my work. I study human life in order to determine its value. Jewelers appraise diamonds, and I appraise people. It's complicated. I'll be honest, I didn't join Project Gorgon because I wanted to satisfy my intellectual curiosity. I was courting the daughter of a Spacer's Choice family. We were a mathematically congruent match, you see. I had the proofs all written out and everything. Everything. Every project has a margin of failure. We expect setbacks, complications, delays. Project Gorgon experienced a cascade failure. One mistake precipitated another, and another, and another. The labs failed to develop a safe drug. Human Inquiry failed to perform their tests responsibly. An unsafe drug tested on unhealthy subjects by irresponsible supervisors. That's Project Gorgon. I know. Project Gorgon was a failure of leadership. Leadership to which I belonged. I should have pushed for stricter supervision. We gave the other departments too much freedom and not enough oversight. Spare the rod, spoil the servant. Anarchy is not a crime. It is a symptom. The undisciplined workplace secretes anarchy the way our glands secrete enzymes. It's a principle of science. Sabotage came first. The chem lab, Human Inquiry, even my own office. Sabotage broke the discipline of our workplace, leading to confusion, leading to escaped subjects, leading to anarchy. No one appreciates the value of good data. The holistic surveillance device I wear is an invaluable tool, gathering data on all my day-to-day activities. My former colleagues can go into hiding and live in ignorance for all I care. I prefer the self-examined life.
I've got a lot on my mind right now. Our trophy's gone missing, but I can't file an investigation because what we're doing here is technically illegal. Oh, don't look so cross. Those canids were put down mercifully. Not every canid is suited to the intense competition of our review. Some few canids display flaws that cannot be redeemed. A limp, wall eye, poor coloration. Mercifully. Anyway, listen. Nature is red in tooth and claw, and so are we. Competition is practically a law of the universe. I shouldn't have to explain this to you. Go and attend to your business, then. Arguing with you is a waste of time.
Whoa, 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 it's Riz. Oh, fucking damn it. Every time. So, hey, you're trespassing, and I'm armed. Maybe take a second look at your life choices, pal. Yeah, I know that lady. I know she's looking for, solitude. She hired us to make sure no one comes sniffing around. Guess that's bad news for your plan there. Yeah, we're the gardeners. We keep order back here on these dangerous streets. Hallways. You know what I mean. Anyway, Blakesley's given us standing orders to strongly discourage anyone who tries to come in. I like to, extrapolate from there. We ain't subversives. We're gainfully employed. This is a private contract. Miss Junlei can't get too mad if we rough up some trespassers. Especially if I was nice enough to warn him first. This deal with Blakesley's pretty sweet. We get paid, and we get fresh greens every week. My gums never looked healthier. Ha! What? Shit. Insurance, you said? Fine, I guess.
I see what you did there, and I'm impressed.
Look, we won't give you trouble, but I can't say the same about Blakesley. She's got some crazy setup in there, so if you get shot, don't come complaining to me.
So who the fuck... Oh, wait, hang on, I can't hear a damn thing. Just gonna shut this thing off. Right. Marion Blakesley, what can I do for you, Mr. Home Invasion? Oh, sure. A real gathering of bright minds. Gorgon? I holed up in a forgotten cargo bay of a rotting colony ship just so I could never hear that name again. But here you are. That bastard. Is he still only mostly worthless, or has he achieved mathematical perfection in that regard? He'll be on to the next hobby in a week. Clarence lacks the attention span for this sort of thing. Someone wants to dig up the past, and you're the shovel, right? That's so? Long way to go for notes on a failed project. Corporate demanded a product they could throw onto shelves. That put the squeeze on low at Chem to develop formulas, samples. But how do you know if the product works? You run tests, see what happens. That's where human inquiry and auditing came in. I ran HIA, and HIA ran the tests again and again and again. And what happens is a whole lot of wasted time and even more bodies. You've heard the adverts, right? Work day and night, still feel refreshed the next morning. Now, what we tested for was dexterity, efficiency, compliance, the traits of a good employee. Numbers never came out right. I could have pumped gallons of those chemicals into every living soul in this colony. Wouldn't have changed that. What we got was marauders. And I got a hefty corporate paycheck for it, too, up until it all fell apart. That's not the part that made Spacer's Choice give up, anyway. You can still buy Adrenatime, after all. We had a few weird accidents, escapes, minor setbacks. But one day, all the test subjects got loose. Sabotage, they said. Wasn't just us. All of the facilities got hit hard. Shut us down for a while. That turned out to be the last straw. Nah, didn't much care by then. Don't care much now. Spacer's Choice wasn't getting much use out of us anymore, so they shuttered the project, kicked Adrenatime out the door. And I came here. Indulge a scientist. What do you want out of this investigation of yours? Trying to liven up your memoir? Really? What good can that possibly do? How about you, Byzantium? What do you get out of headbutting murderous automechanicals for your captain here?
Money, obviously. Plus, it's fun.
Fair enough. That's all I've got. Here, I still have this pass. Don't much feel like hanging on to it anymore. Made my exit the moment the project started falling apart. Had to steal some credentials. This should get you into the volunteer induction entrance. Please, I just messaged people with fake demands for their passwords. That's when they didn't just leave codes written down on pieces of paper. If I couldn't talk my way out past a simple facility lockdown, I'd be working for Rizzo's. That'll get you inside. What you do from there, that's up to you. Come on, I've left it behind me. You wouldn't. Damn it. Fine. Fine, here, I remember one of my access codes. Just punch in the keypad equivalent for replication. Should get you into the offices. Maybe get you to my terminal a little sooner. Go test that persistence of yours out on Gorgon. Yeah. I'll make sure the automechanicals don't bother you on the way out.
Captain, an unknown vessel is approaching our ship. Their intentions are currently indeterminate. Once I deduce their intentions, I will play one of two audio signals. A cheerful fanfare if they are friendly, alarms if they are hostile. Their intentions are no longer unknown. The unknown vessel has deployed a boarding mechanism. They will attach themselves to our airlock and attempt boarding shortly. That sound indicates that a boarding mechanism has successfully attached to our airlock. Captain, I am pleased to inform you that we are currently in the process of being boarded. I have been programmed to simulate joy and excitement at the opportunity to test my limited defensive capabilities. Captain Hawthorne installed a lethal shock trap on our airlock in the event of an invasion. I am prepared to deploy this trap at a moment's notice. I understand. Allow me to rectify my oversight. Captain, please be informed that our airlock has a death trap installed. The invading ship appears to be a decommissioned storage vessel. The crew are either pirates or freelancers. My opinion of their competence is low. Their ship is using a tracking device too sophisticated for their primitive astrogator. I conclude they are receiving outside assistance. If you prefer to make an escape, I can disable their boarding mechanism. However, as long as that tracking device remains on board their ship, they will be able to find us again. Yes, Captain. I am capable of deploying the Unreliable's articulated thrusters to dislodge their ship from our own. This is a temporary solution, however. A permanent solution may require your personal intervention. Understood, Captain. I will be deploying the Unreliable's lethal deterrence system. Please approach the airlock and enjoy the show.
You know, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping you'd play by the rules. We could have had a good old-fashioned boarding. Now you're barging into my office, muddying tracks all over my floor. A little respect for the ship. Is that too much to ask? Yeah, but I had every intention of respecting the upholstery. I would have had you spaced or shot in the bathroom or something. You're the captain of the Unreliable. You dropped out of the sky in Emerald Vale, and whatever you've been doing on Gorgon, you've upset my employer. You and I are in a bit of a situation. I don't get paid unless you're dead, and a man's gotta make a living. You understand? Well, it's not like I've got much of a choice here. If you're willing to be reasonable, I'm willing to put away the coach persona. My team and I were contracted to apprehend the Unreliable, eliminate its crew, and dispose of the captain. I couldn't tell you who hired me even if I wanted to. The contract's anonymous. No names, no faces, just money and a target. I can't turn down a job like that, you understand. Wow, that's a lot of bits. I mean, after careful deliberation, I've decided to accept your offer. I'll keep my ship clear of yours. You and I will never cross orbits again. I got no reason to come after you. Use my credentials to get inside the cockpit and take our tracking device. Our astrogation terminal was tracking your ship. Don't ask me how. Never had much luck with computing devices myself. The truth. We never caught up to the Unreliable. You vanished somewhere into the void. Astrogator never picked up your location again.